For real, Steven? Wait a minute, could we
What?
just practice? Huh? No? Ah!
Nothing to practice.
Oh
You're
my god.
live. Just start talking.
No.
You're good. You're live.
Hey everyone, welcome to Inspired Body by Bell Health, Wellness, and Fitness. I'm your host, Joyce Bell, LPN. I'm always excited to share valuable information on easy and simple health and wellness lifestyle tips. Now, I do this because I believe everybody deserves to have the body and life they love. Now, if you haven't done so already, please go to my website, www.inspiredbodybybell.com, or follow me on Instagram for my health and wellness journey at Inspired Body by Bell, or you can download the app Beat Break 87 FM. It is a 24-hour internet radio service, and follow me on Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. If you miss all of that, God forbid you do, please download Spotify and find my podcast on health, wellness, and fitness with Joyce Well. Yay. Okay. So now that we've gotten that all out of the way, I want you guys to remember that this was the month of February. We were talking about 5 ways to take care of your heart. 5 ways to show your heart love. If you missed those, please tune in. Beat Break 87 FM. You will be able to catch the live podcast there and also on Spotify and listen in. It's just a lot of fun. Those are my very first podcasts, so they'll be quite interesting. But I'm going to be coming to you live a little bit more often. I used to do that a couple of years before, and I guess I'm back in your face, live and direct. So, today we got 3 topics that we want to talk about. And those are some of the things that I realized I needed in my health journey. And so I'm going to share them with you. The topics that we're going to share today are going to be on motivation. What is going to be your motivation? What is helping you? We're going to zero in on that thing. Your discipline, what actions you're taking for your motivation, and also portion control. We're going to talk about the foods that we're eating. And so they're all going to be related because they're necessary. You're going to have discipline to be motivated, and motivated includes discipline and portion control, which is going to be portion control of everything. Portion control on sex, portion control on how much alcohol you drink, portion control on how much sleep, or portion control on how much food, how much sugar. So portion control on how much exercise, how much workout. So portion control is going to encompass everything. All right, the first thing we're going to dive right into, and before we dive into it, I'm going to always suggest that you go get you pad, paper, get a recorder, whatever. Let's see if I got my best side on if you're recording. Get something, to get this information down. They're good tips, you may or may not use them. I'm always good for saying eat the fish and spit out the bones. Use what you need. This information is definitely going to be for the individuals who want it. Like I said, everybody deserves to have the body and life they love. I'm clearly doing that, and so I'd like to share that. And I started probably about 5 years ago, and I'm still growing in it. I'm still developing, and I'm excited to share with you guys what I've done. I told you guys it was coming. I told you I was going to have my own radio show. Yeah. Hey, mama. Okay, so we're going into our motivation. What is your health goal motivation? Or what is the motivation? What is making you feel like you should be healthier? What is making you feel like you should lose weight? What is your big why? What is that thing that is motivating you? Well, I can give you an example. My motivation was I wanted to be able to do activity without having to be feeling like I was having an asthma attack. And I also wanted to be able to make a muscle and have my arms look like they were firm and tight without having to flex. What was the other thing? I also wanted to avoid having surgery. Those were things that were impending. So your motivations do not have to be just one thing. They could be more than one. It could be a couple of things. And I had a few, but the motivations changed and they varied according to my growth and according to my development. So you could have a couple of motivations. My thing is, what are we going to zone in on? And so I have some information that I put in. The reason why I have this is over my journey, I documented a lot of things and I put things on paper. That was my journal, something that I could go back and look at. And that would be my first suggestion to you. Your thoughts are very important, and I get that. But until you decide to put those thoughts into motion, you're not going to see any progress. So, my suggestion always is to have something to write. And believe me, even if there's sticky notes all over the place, just to give you a visual to connect with what it is that you want to project in the future, it will help. I did that. And if you don't believe me, it is global around the world. Go to YouTube, look at 2017 Body Challenge finalist or Body finalist 2017, and you'll see my sticky notes all over the place and know that those things are real. That helped me to get to the motivation that I needed to take the action and do what I needed to do. So here's what I have. And let's be real with this. What is your motivation? Is it because you want to get off blood pressure medication? Is it because you want to decrease your insulin levels? And when I say insulin levels, we know like your hemoglobin A1C. This is a number that is calculated for a period of 3 months for diabetics, and it's a good marker for us to help determine whether they're keeping their sugars under control or not. So even though you may or may not take your sugars and you don't know your numbers, we are still able to determine what your history has been when we do the lab work. So you can't lie to me. I'm already gonna know. That's why I always ask for lab work, because the truth is in the blood. Let me get some of that blood. I tell you what you're doing. So people may decide that they want to reduce the amount of insulin that they're having to use to maintain their glucose levels. Or you might be like, I just want to figure out, there's this really nice hot black dress that I want to get in, or this red dress, whatever. Maybe it's a wedding, or maybe as a bridesmaid, something like that. There's an event, something going on. That might be your motivation. Or you may plumb just want to become healthy. Like I said, my motivation at the time was I did not want to have surgery. I did not want to have a line down the middle of my chest. And I've seen numerous of them. And to be honest, none of them are cute. None of them are neat. And usually, if you have made it out of it, you've had some sort of deficit. It's almost like maybe a rib have been taken away from you. There's something that's now missing because you're not as whole as you were before you went under the knife, and that's just reality. I know as a 7-year nurse, cardiology nurse, that was not something that I wanted to do. So deciding what that determination is. And so when that happens, let's take it down even further. How do we do that? We're going to look at how do we look, one. We're going to look at our wellness and fitness. And we're also going to look at life in general. These are all the things that are going to be necessary to help us move on to the next step. That's what your motivation is going to be about. Now, it could be about what you look like. I remember taking off all of my clothes, and that was my reality, and stand in the mirror and look at, okay, maybe I had a little dimple here, a little dimple there, a couple of stretches, wrinkles, whatever it was that I felt like I didn't want to have. I knew that I would have to do something about it to not get that. One of my issues was cellulite or wrinkles at the back of my thighs. It wasn't cute. You guys know about it. Even when you wear your little Spanx and your tights or whatever to hold it on in, it'll pucker out through there. And honestly, it's just really a lot of visceral fat, sugars, really, they're just kind of pocketed there. They're pockets of fat that just, need to be burned off by some sort of cardio, some sort of exercise. So maybe you want to decide about, I want to be able to walk to the store. I want to be able to find clothes that are in my size when I go in. I mean, you got a clearance rack, and, they've got really nice clothes and maybe some things that are good price, but God forbid you can't even fit in a darn thing. And then you got your girlfriend like me. I'm going to come shopping with you, and every damn thing fits me. That's because I'm in an ideal size for me, to be able to wear and fit into pretty much, anything. And that's great. I've always decided that that was a main thing for me. I want to be able to wear anything, and I want to be able to fit anything. So you want to love what you see in the mirror. You might want to have a more positive self-esteem. And that's another good one, positive self-esteem. When my hair, or when I was wearing my weaves and my wigs and things of that nature, the whole purpose was to have it either blend in, or just create a new look. But if the match wasn't good, I was always self-conscious that I needed to pull it down a little. I need to make sure. And so I'm constantly working on that, which means that my self-esteem could not be at a high level if I'm constantly trying to adjust it and fix, versus being my natural being self now, where I can just run my fingers through my hair and have them look nice and curly and beautiful, and be my chocolate Nubian self. Not to say that the weaves aren't something that are fun and you can play with, but I was literally using it as something to maybe feel elevated, or feel a part of, or accepted. And so there was something to do with self-esteem, because I was actually using that to kind of cover or mask whatever I felt that was negative, to elevate me. That sucks. Talk to me about that if you're doing that. It's not good. Girl, wear your hair, honey. Wear it. All right, so there we go with self-esteem. That's going to add to the motivation. The more it gave me self-esteem, the more I was motivated to do it more. I don't want to be with low self-esteem. It gives me confidence to move forward. The other thing is loving my body, but I don't feel healthy. I want to change that. Or wanting to lose weight so that there was less pain in your back. Sometimes the conversation is, my back hurts so bad, so I can't exercise. And the truth of the matter of, the back hurts so bad because you've put on weight, and it is so much more weight on the muscles, and so much more weight on the spine, that it's causing it back pain. And without understanding what your reality was, understanding what role that you played in it, or lack of, is that maybe if you did a little bit of exercise, you'd be able to burn some of the fat, get some of the weight off, and then you could move. And now your heart will actually be happier, because it's not having to pump so hard. Remember, it's already pumping that gallon. I don't know if I shared earlier with you guys that today my Dr. Gaurav and I went to Shiloh Bethel Church in Morrow. It was their health ministries on health and wellness, and they were sharing on heart health. There was some cute little dresses, and they had some lovely pens, and literally just a lot of African American women were there. Now, this does not mean that it doesn't affect different races, but it was almost amazing to see that the majority of them looked very much like me. They looked like my aunt. They looked like my grandmother. They looked like my niece. They looked like family. And how in amazement it was when they understood some of the simple tips that we were sharing about their heart. You don't have to overcomplicate things. It's very simple. And one of the tips that was shared by Dr. Gaurav today was that the heart is just about this big. It's not big at all. If you've made your fist, you realize it's very tiny. But with this tiny heart, it has so many electrical impulses that it causes it to do so much work. So as it is doing this, in 1 minute of just doing this, it would have pumped approximately 1 gallon of blood. Do you see this? It's a heart. 1 minute. And sometimes we just ask you for 1 minute of exercise every day. And you make a big deal out of it because it's so much. But your heart is working for you on its own, miraculously, without skipping a beat every day. In 1 minute, it can pump approximately 1 gallon, I'm sorry. And then with that, all of the ventricles, all of the arteries and veins that are connected, if you laid them all out flat, will equal up approximately 6 miles, 6,000 miles. That's a lot. Imagine this much work that it's doing in 1 minute, and all we ask of you each day is maybe just 1 minute of some sort of exercise, and you just won't even do it. So that's going to bring us right into the discipline. Now, if you decided that you have your motivation, let's work on some discipline. And discipline doesn't mean you show up at the gym every day and just not do an exercise. Discipline does not mean that you download and you understand that there's a meal plan or a meal prep that you should follow, but you just didn't do it. Discipline means, and I'm going to read that definition for you. I know discipline is going to be a touchy subject because a lot of us as adults think of discipline or could remind us of discipline when we discipline our children. And that's typically where we associate discipline. But the truth of the matter is, discipline continues all throughout your life. High school, college, marriage, older, elderly. A discipline means, and let me give you the meaning. What is discipline means? Training to act in accordance with the rules. Training. Training is not just exercise, and I always share that too when it comes to an action or movement or exercise. Exercise is the basics. Everybody could do a little bit of exercise because exercise can really be anything. It's a movement with intention. And then you have your workout. Workout is like an intermediate type of working out where maybe you can work in progressions, in sets and so forth, some CrossFit and so forth. And then you've got your training. This is your intense training, grit and glory for a sport, a competition, or maybe even some sort of paid event. This is like, a sport. You're getting paid for it. I mean, I don't know that anyone would want to train so viciously and vigorously just for the hell of it. But then again, you've got quite a few sadomasochists out there, so more power to you. Training is kind of rough. So, training to act in accordance with the rules. Also, an activity, exercise, or regimen that develops or improves a skill, which means an activity, something that I'm going to continually do, an exercise, or a regimen, something that I'm going to continuously do and develop to improve the skill. So if I am doing jumping jacks and I realize that getting my hands over my head and doing my leg movements at the same time happens to be a challenge, I'm not going to decide, well, I won't do jumping jacks. Let's just work on one at a time. Maybe the hands up on top, and then I can work on the feet on the bottom. One way or the other, with constant repetition and practice, you're going to be able to do it. So we're talking about an activity, exercise, or a regimen that develops or improves a skill. Punishment. This is discipline now. Punishment inflicted by way of correction and training. So they say discipline also is a form of punishment, or it could be construed as punishment inflicted by way of correction and training. Now, I think that we're touching on something very important. So that when an individual says, I just can't do that, they associate the discipline to working out, the discipline to eating healthy as a punishment. Do you see that? They are associating their discipline. So in fact, this is proof to let you know that discipline, there's a great difference from training in accordance to rules or training to improve a skill versus a mindset that says punishment. Aha! Do you see? I'm here to help y'all. I'm here to help y'all. I'm a deep nurse. I ain't trying to fool you. I'll tell you how to open your mind. Okay? Behavior in accordance with rules of conduct. And then this may be, so we know that at church, maybe some kind of rules of conduct. Most churches, we know that you're not supposed to chew gum, you're not supposed to be loud, things like that. Those are just kind of rules of conduct that we know we would expect. A set or a system of rules and regulations. And of course, that would we know that, let's say, a set of systems and rules and regulations with regard to driving in a car. Sets of systems and rules, we got to put a seatbelt on. That's a set. It's a regulation. It's a requirement. You know, you're driving, you got to turn your lights on. You know, you should blow the horn to draw attention if it's necessary. You should put your blinkers on when you turn to the left or the right. You know, those sort of things. These is rules. You know, don't cross the double line. Believe me, I know. See how many tickets I get for that? It's ridiculous. You know, I know I'm wrong, but half the time, so I'm like, gosh, I really got to get over here. But neither here nor there. But you know, discipline. Okay. So now you're gonna answer your questions with the discipline. What kind of activities and what will I need to do in order to facilitate what I've got? Well, I want to lose some weight, so I will probably go to the gym every day. But if I end up only going one day out of the week, know that you're going to only get one day out of the week. Look, right? If you decide I'm going to eat clean, but I can just eat lettuce and tomatoes and I'm going to drink. You can't have your lettuce and tomatoes and turn around and just be having your margaritas either. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do that. What activities can you engage in that's going to help to enhance your discipline? So what I found was I was able to partner with another group of people, a lifestyle of people who did the same thing, who were like-minded, who felt that it was important to improve their health, who felt that they could take it to another level. So I got involved in the health and wellness, fitness. I was a fitness model. I was able to bodybuild, even become a master figure pro bodybuilder, like be a part of that world even for a little. And because my body transformed in so many ways, I was able to fill all of these positions easily, smoothly, because I was disciplined in it. I kept myself in the company of individuals who are very much interested and happy and positive. We make this thing fun. Every day does not have to be, but one thing we never did was look at that discipline as a punishment. Never. Which is why we don't have a cheat day. We have an eat day, which means that that's the day you chose to eat what you wanted to eat outside of your discipline. It's okay. You human. Anybody gonna kill you? All right. So, what else? What else can you learn about your health and fitness? Are there new recipes that you can learn? Are there new exercises that you can do? The proper form for exercises that you could do. You come to the gym, you don't just walk around and just figure out you're going to do what you want to do. Go ask someone for help. You know, reach out to someone, and in some cases, you may have to pay for it. And that's the price that you pay for not looking into it yourself and understanding clearly how to do it. The truth of the matter is these exercises and things that we need for our body to keep us, we learned from 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade when our hand-eye coordination became intact. So we should have been able to do this a long time ago. And let's go back to childhood when we say discipline is necessary. So a lot of us in our day and age now, let's be truthful. I know you may not like it. I said I knew I was going to step on some toes when we came across to the point of discipline. The same discipline that we teach our children, we need to apply to ourselves in order to reap the benefits of the goals that we're reaching for. Okay? And there you have it on discipline. Ain't no joke about that. Make sure you're writing this down because it's good information. The other thing is writing down in your journal. You have to create a journal because it's something that you can go back and look at, something that you can see how your growth is. I beg of you, stop going to the gym and having someone tell you what exercises to do. You come out of there, you have no idea what exercise it is. You don't know what it is. Oh, you know, the thing when you put your hand on the thing and then you push down. That's not going to work. Stop going to these nutritional classes and learning about the herbs and vegetables that you can use, and you simply fall off after that. I mean, you learned all the recipes, you knew that they were great, they're good for you, and then, after the class ends, you're no longer doing that. That's not how it's going to work. Set your timers. I did that a lot. I had to reach out to individuals, and once I did, I took the information, especially if I paid for it. You pay for a program and someone is willing to share with you from their heart. And to be truthful, there's tons of people that are willing to give you information and then some, just because you showed interest. And then when you just fall off and not, it's very disappointing because it's your health. It's your health. So if you got high blood pressure issues, you got high blood sugar, anything that you're doing, make sure you write it down and start working on those things specifically. When you're sneaking food, right, so that your loved ones and your family, that's not, you're hurting yourself. When you're lying about the fact that, yeah, I had a half a gallon of water, or I just had a sliver of piece of cake, when really and truly you had two, you are not hurting anyone but yourself. Your discipline has to be great enough so that you can make sure you're going to reach the goal that you're asking for. Lastly, what does discipline look for you in your lifestyle? Are you aware that it is necessary? You can't just stop eating white rice and baked potatoes every day for a week. It now has to become something that we're going to now slide right on into portion control. Portion control. I always say, you don't have to become a vegan. You don't have to have this paleo diet. You don't have to be on Well Watchers or, Weight Watchers or any of these diets. You really don't. The truth of the matter is your portion control and how many calories you're putting in versus calories that you're burning, whether in exercise or however it is that you burn your calories. Now, instead of trying to actually count numbers, which you can, get with a nutritionalist or someone who's able to help you with your macronutrients and your micronutrients. And these are going to be some specific things that you're doing for your body, which to me is a bit extreme. I don't know that it's necessary for me to do so unless there's a specific aesthetic look that I'm trying to obtain. But other than that, nah. I think that's a little bit too much, and I really kind of enjoy life. But I do agree that if it is something that you've done for 21 days or more, it might become a habit, and then there you have it. If that's what you want. Me, no. I like my curves the way they are. Let me behave. So, with portion control, today, let's talk about healthy portion sizes. So, portion control is key to an effective, healthy eating regimen. And if you aren't going to be weighing your food, and this was one of the things that I learned when I very first began on my health journey, was I had to get a scale. I got two of them. One was a digital, and one I actually had to put the raw material in it. Like, it would be the raw meat as I bought it off the store. The grains of rice, I would put that in there, or the vegetables, literally just as I got it, to determine exactly how much. After I had done that for a while, I was then able to, kind of gauge it by visually seeing what it was, and I knew, okay, I could use this much or so forth. And this is a really simple tip that I eventually learned. Like, if you got the whole part of your hand, this is like 3 to 5 ounces, and this should probably be like your proteins. Let me tell you exactly what should be there. Okay, and first of all, let's go with portion control again for each individual. It's going to be different. I have a lot of muscle on board, and so my portions are going to be a little bit more than someone who might be smaller framed or even taller, or my son who is so much bigger than I am. the caloric intake that he needs for protein, vegetables, or fruit will be varying and different for me. Yes, there are some standards that are put out by the FDA or whatever governments there are. You've got to figure out exactly what your own is and what's going to actually work for you, as I've done for myself. So, rice, pasta, fruits, and vegetables should be about the size of your fist. So if you figure out this much rice, this much pasta, which is going to be like your starch, these are carbs. Fruits and veggies, they also are carbs in some ways because guess what? Fruits are natural sugar, and veggies, some of them have sugars in them also. So there's actually sugar in everything. So approximately about a fist size of maybe a rice, a pasta, um, fruits or veggies. And then when it comes to meat, fish, and poultry, which is going to be your protein, you're going to have about this size, which is what I was saying before. A portion of about open palm. It's going to be your salmon, maybe your pork chops, maybe your chicken breast, whatever protein it is, some fish. I don't know. It doesn't matter about your open palm. So for me, this is about 3 to 5 ounces, depending on what it is. Bison, I love that too. That's a lean meat. Ground turkey, it doesn't matter, whatever that is. Okay. And then for your nuts, which is going to be your good fats, dried fruit and raisins for like antioxidants and so forth, cranberries, things like that. A portion will be approximately the size of a closed palm. So that's about so. So just about that much if you just close your palm. These are nuts. These are which are like your good fats, some dried fruit for your antioxidants, your raisins. This is like sugars and things like that. Just about that much. And then if you want, here we're talking about chips, popcorn, pretzels. When I say you can't have it, now if you got some GI issues, you might stay away from the popcorn because you know good and well it's getting caught in the little pockets in your GI tract and it's giving you all kinds of issues. So stay away from the corn. Why don't ya? It ain't good. You know it. Stay away from that. But you got chips, you got pretzels. Now, you know these things are definitely saturated with a lot of sodium. So that's going to be the thing to be careful about. So we're saying about 2 handfuls would be the good suggested portion size. But you know good and well, you get you a bag of them chips, it'd be more than 2 handfuls, you eat that whole bag. You've now saturated your body with a lot of sodium. I know it tastes so good. I know, because you know what I do? Sometimes I get the cheese cheddar plus the extra butter. Dump that in a bowl or something like that. Mix it up and that's like a what is that? Homer Simpson moment. It's horrible, but I feel like I'm able to do that because I definitely have my portion control. Which means if I did that this weekend, believe me, I wouldn't do it again for like 2 weekends. And if I did do it, I'm definitely gonna start burning more calories. I'm out there running. I'm out there doing some jumping jacks. I'm going to do an extra set of, I don't know, leg lifts or whatever that thing is to help balance that out. You've got to have a balance, all right? So now, what have we got? We've got different needs. Okay, so everybody's going to be different with regard to portion control. So here we're talking about the different needs. You've got the runner. The food that the runner is going to have is totally going to be something different than someone who is wanting to lose weight, or someone who's wanting to put on muscle, or someone who needs some specific macronutrients and things like that. Now here are some apps or some websites that you can go to. It's called If It Fits. That's a good site that you can go to, or app that you can use to kind of help you make some decisions on what you can do. Your Macros, YOUR Macros is another app, and then MyFitnessPal app. I know I personally have tried that. I'm saying to you guys, you know, as disciplined as I've been, which I think I've been great by the things that I've proven that I've been able to do, these were just a little too strict, and in some sort of, you know, I couldn't, you know, I think my lifestyle is just entirely too busy to have to really try to focus on it. This wasn't really necessary. My numbers are extremely wonderful, phenomenal, and great, and I'm pleased to say that, it's got to be because of, what I've chosen to do with regard to my lifestyle. I hope you're cleansing, by the way. Anyway, that being said, I'm a believer that you should eat as many veggies and green leafy things like I totally love spinach, um, collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens, combinations of them. This is one Caribbean thing we call dashin. And at home, it's like I honestly don't even remember, but I know it's definitely the ground food. Well, the leafy part of it that grew out of the ground that mommy used to cook. It had to be a specific time that you could cook it. And they would throw that thing in there with some okra and da-da-da and da-da-da and Yes, loved it. Or kalaloo, which is another island vegetables specialty, I guess, that you could make that literally is just like green slush. It's so delicious though. So another person may feel that you may need to make up your intake of lean protein by making a larger part of your meals. It just depends. You're going to consider what is going to be right for you. For example, a handful of jelly beans and a handful of carrots is sugar. And what's going to be the difference? Well, the difference is going to be the content of the nutrients that's in it and the action of the day when you're using it and how you're going to do it. Portion control is definitely going to determine whether maybe I'm going to do 6 ounces of this meal, again, according to what it is that you're trying to do. You'll have to be specific. You'll learn what actions it actually takes. You'll also learn what kinds of things you can do to substitute and make it work for you. I had to literally learn what cold foods I could take with me when the weather was cold that would be that I could actually take if I was traveling, so that I just would not miss a meal, or so that I was able to make some good food choices in places that I wouldn't really get the opportunity. There's always ways around it. You decide what it is you want to do, and that is going to be the discipline for what. As always, guys, I am so grateful and thank you that you chose to listen to me. This is going to be the end of my broadcast. Don't forget to follow me on check out my website at www.inspiredbodybybelle.com. Follow me on Instagram, Inspired Body by Belle. You can also download the app Beat Break 87 FM Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. And if you missed all of that, get on Spotify. Check me out. Health, Wellness, and Fitness with Joyce Bell. Love you guys.